What up, Panther Nation, Ropp gang? I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. As you can see, I'm outside. It's a beautiful day here where I live, and I was like, you know what? Let's do the live stream outside. So I got the puppies outside, so they're chilling. So they're just being a bunch of pain in the butts. So, anyways, appreciate everyone joining the live stream. You know, we're just gonna break it down, man. Just break this game down. Obviously, there's some news and updates that have already come out, right? With everything going on. I mean, obviously, Panther Panther8er X, what's going on, man? Appreciate you joining the live stream. Appreciate everyone who is in here. So make sure you pound that like button as you're coming in, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. Also, get in the comment section. Love to hear y'all's thoughts. So appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Everyone that's in here. So I hope everyone's doing well, and it's on this beautiful Friday. So just enjoying the outdoors and coming to you live here. Gonna break this game down for you guys, right? Gonna break down this week 4 matchup. Now there is some news and updates, guys. There is some news and updates going on right now. You know, obviously we're preparing for this crucial game. It's a crucial game for week 4, and it's a crucial game for the Minnesota Vikings too. Both of these teams are both 0-3, trying to have a bounce back week, right? Trying to bounce back after starting out 0-3, right? You know, Miles Sanders. So quick update, just so y'all guys know. Don't know if any of y'all know this right now. Obviously, I watched the press conference today. Let's the Frank Wright talk. It was a short press conference, but as we know of right now, Miles Sanders is listed as questionable. Frankie Luvu is listed as questionable. Sounds like those two are going to be game time decisions. Obviously, Xavier Woods is out. And then Jonathan Mingo remains on concussion protocol, which, you know, obviously means he's out. But the Panthers are facing some challenges, right? As we're heading into this game against the Vikings, right? We have key players injured. We haven't won any games this season. Obviously, us fans are questioning, you know, the promises made by our team's general manager Scott Fitterer before the season even started. You know, obviously, I've questioned it. I posted shorts about it. I talked about it yesterday. I talked about it on Wednesday with the Black Cat Panther podcast as well. I've kind of got it off my shoulders, off my chest of everything on how I feel, right? From that standpoint of the decisions that they made this offseason obviously weren't the best ones. The talent and depth was not fulfilled the way that we were promised, I felt like, right? So obviously those are the challenges we face. How do we overcome that? I don't know. I guess you have to, the only thing I can think of is you start making trades now for draft picks, and you got to get rid of some guys to do so, right? I mean, but would that be smart to do at this stage of the game? I don't know. I don't know what the right thing would be to do, right? I'm coming from this as a fan standpoint just as much as y'all come in here and chat up with me, right? So if we were to lose this game, it would be our first time starting out 0-4 since 2010. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. I know. Brian Burns, though, did have a nice message that I want to talk about. I didn't put a PowerPoint together today because it wouldn't have been there was no point. We're just going to go over this game and stuff like that. But Brian Burns had a message come out today that may have, you know, the Minnesota Vikings may have an 0-3 record, right? But they are still a strong team, and they've had close losses to good teams as well. And their quarterback Kirk Cousins leads the NFL in passing yards right now, which is crazy to even think about with them being 0-3. You know, and then Brian Burns mentioned that Cousins gets rid of the ball quickly, making it challenging for defenses to obviously to disrupt him. So the Brian Burns had a message for Cousins saying, just hold on to the ball a little bit longer, basically, jokingly. So that was in his locker room press conference. So that was pretty funny. But Thomas Brown on the tight ends. In recent games, you know, the Panthers tight ends haven't been very involved in the pass game, right? which we were promised that this offseason by Frank Wright to use them and in different various ways, right? And that hasn't happened, right? Um, Sorry about that. I got people working on my house and they're interrupting me like mid thing. So, um, anyways, I got people redoing my floor. What's up, Jadarius? Appreciate you joining the live stream. Make sure you pound the like button. Subscribe to the channel, guys, if you haven't already. Click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out any more live streams. All right. So, anyways, like I was saying with the Thomas Brown thing, he was talking about the tight ends, right? And they haven't been involved in the passing game, like I was saying, which we were promised this offseason to by Frank Wright, because Frank Wright even mentioned that they were going to use. That's why they kept the tight ends, because they were going to use them in various different styles of play, right? And Thomas Brown really explained it better than Frank Wright has, honestly. This depends on the opponent's defensive strategies and which players are open. However, I'm hoping to see more involvement from the tight ends like Tommy Tremble in this upcoming game against the Vikings. Because we know Hurst is going to be involved, but none of these other tight ends that we have on the roster, Ian Thomas, Tommy Tremble, really haven't been involved, right? So, I mean, Tommy Tremble, I think, caught maybe 2 passes last game or 1. But other than that, I mean, the overall at the tight end position, Hayden Hurst is the only one that seems to be getting any possessions, right, or targets. So I want to see. The thing is that frustrates me with this tight end group is that we kept all these tight ends, and you know, there we were promised this crazy, or not crazy, but just this creative scheme with them, and that's why we kept them. And we have yet to see that still. Again, we've yet to see a lot of, I feel like with this offense, I feel like the Frank Wright has promised all these different schemes and strategies with this offense, and we have yet to see any part of that, of anything that he has promised, right? So it's just interesting to me that this kind of shit like that is happening, and I don't understand that, right? Make sure we're good here. Okay, perfect. I just wanted to make sure we were good here. That's all. All right, perfect. Okay. So, anyways, let's move on to the next thing here. So, another thing I want to talk about is DJ Johnson's progress. I mean, sorry. Um, DJ Johnson is a player that we traded up for, right? In this past draft. Traded up 2 draft picks to move up to pick him up in the 3rd round. He hasn't seen much playing time yet, which has been interesting. And I talked about that the other day, I think yesterday on my show. Now, despite being viewed as a development project, Johnson will turn 25 next month. I talked about this on Wednesday. Now I remember. Now, the thing is that Evero has mentioned that the team has depth in the edge rusher position, which is why Johnson hasn't played much. So, I mean, I'm eager to see him gain some experience, even if it's just special teams, because you don't trade up for a guy, you don't trade 2 picks to move up in the 3rd round to pick up a guy like DJ Johnson and not use him. I just don't. That's what I don't understand. Why trade up for him if you're not going to use him, or if you didn't see some potential at least in him, right? So I don't know if they think that he was more of a I mean, I think our front office thought he was more of a development type player, right? But you don't do that. Like, even though he's going to be a project, you got to give him some playing time, right? To at least understand the speed of the game, get some, progressions under, Get some reps out there because that's the only way you're going to get better. Yeah, you got practice with the guys, right? You got, you had the OTAs, the training camp, and all that. You got preseason, but when in a true NFL game, that's where you get your reps in. That's where you can learn from your mistakes and how you can get better, right? That's at least that's my mindset with it, right? So, um, and then Bryce Young's leadership was another big thing that I've noticed this throughout this week. Obviously he's playing this week after missing last week to this ankle injury issue, whatever you want to call it, right? Or whether it was a putting him in timeout for a week, right? I don't know. Whichever one you want to call it, right? Because a lot of people in our fan base think it wasn't an injury. Some people think that it was just him Frank Wright sitting him and giving him a timeout. I don't know, right? I don't think we really know exactly what this, what this true situation was. Was he really injured or was he not? Right. So, um, at the end of the day, I think he's shown a lot of leadership this week. I expect, I expect a lot out of Bryce, obviously being a first overall pick, and my expectations have been high for him. But I've kind of lowered my expectations, not just with him, but this team. Um, because we have yet to secure a win this season, right? I mean, but Young has emphasized the importance of improving in every detail and maintaining that urgency, right? He seems himself, right, and he sees himself as a leader of this team and is focused on leading by example, which as he should, right? So Young's going to be facing this Vikings defense, which has struggled against the pass. And I think this is an opportunity for him to really make an impact and kind of build up some confidence and go out there and just sling it freely. Don't, and if you see a guy open, go for it, sling it. Just don't, that's what Andy Dalton did last week, and look how that turned out. Don't go out there and just second guess yourself, because then that's when you make the mistakes. Go for when you see the open window, go for it, right? That's me, man. So, man, our front is filled with Madden GMs, dog. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what our front office was thinking through this past free agency and draft. Like I've already said it. You drafted horribly. Um the free agency was terrible as well, right? The only person I would say that they actually picked up that was actually halfway deep, who's actually good, was Von Bell, right? Von Bell was a hell of a pickup, right? I will say we did get a steal with Frankie Louvu. There has been some good talent, but between you and us, you and me, guys, right? Just between me and me, I mean, I just feel like Scott Fitter and Dan Morgan have promised us an off season of talent and depth, and we aren't seeing that. Now, obviously, it would be a lot better if we didn't have the injury issues, I think, but at the same time, the talent's just not there, especially in the wide receiver room. You so, sorry about that. So if you see me go in and out, I apologize. I got people working on my house, but I think they just picked up their last piece of one of the last. I got people working on my floor, so they're coming out here. I wanted to come outside so I could have the dogs outside, be able to come at you live outside from my house. And plus, it's a nice day, man. Plus, it's a nice day. It's a beautiful day out here. Plus, I got my laptop on the on the wood that they're using, but I have to improvise, right? I got to improvise while I'm working and hanging out with you guys. So, let me get in the chat here real quick, and then we're going to get into the previews, and then we'll get into the prediction. They said the Vikings are the best 0-3 team. They probably are, honestly. I mean, from a defensive standpoint, and their secondary is not very good. I will say that. But from an offensive standpoint, and you've got Kirk Cousins throwing the ball over, you know, 300 yards a game, and he has the most passing yards in the NFL right now, and you're 0-3. That's a problem. It sounds like Justin Jefferson's tired of dealing with them as an organization. It sounds like they're ready. He's ready to move on from them. And I'm kind of surprised about that. But I thought didn't Justin Jefferson get signed this past offseason? Like, didn't he just get like a big contract? Or he hasn't signed the contract yet? Oh, it's okay. So he hasn't gotten a contract yet because they decided to not sign him a contract extension because they're gonna wait until after the season. Oh, wow. Been promising us that and haven't received it, man. Yep. Yep. It's a promise they can't keep. That's the problem. Well, I mean, if it was Madden, we could get we could give Burns like 13 million and he would accept that. So I guess we're living in reality. Interesting statement there, Panther Raider X. I don't think I mean, I get it from that standpoint, right? I get it from that standpoint. You could say it from the signing part, but when it comes to these trades and free agency and draft picks and stuff like that, that I mean, we just our front office has promised us all these things, and it just hasn't turned out the way that I guess we expected, right? I mean, what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? All right, so let's get into this. So both of these teams are without a win. Okay, we're in Charlotte. Minnesota's 0-3. Carolina's 0-3. Betting odds right now: Minnesota is considered the favorite by 3.5 points. Carolina is the underdog with the money line of plus 165. And then the total points are expected in the game is set at like 45.5. Okay. The thing is that the Washington's defense needs improvement. Or not Washington. Why did I say Washington? The Vikings defense needs improvement because Minnesota has yet to secure a win this season. And in their last game, they lost 28-24 to the Los Angeles Chargers. Kirk Cousins had a good game with 367 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also threw a crucial interception in the red zone during the final drive. The Vikings have gained 475 total yards with Alexander Madison rushing for 93 of them. Okay. And Justin Jefferson catching 7 passes for 149 yards and a touchdown. So, however, guys, the defense has been struggling. They're allowing an average of 27.3 points and 261.7 passing yards per game. So the secondary lacks depth as well. They're kind of in the same boat as we are, but just not as bad. We're just not as bad off as they are. Well, I will say that our secondary is better than Minnesota's. I will say that. I will say that. All right. But they don't have a run game there in Minnesota either, guys. Alexander Madison's not that good, honestly. When I think P. Diddy isn't a crazy option as an owner, you know it's bad. Honestly, there's been talks, obviously, with Drake and J. Cole. There's obviously been talks about that, about them becoming ownerships down there in Charlotte. Clay, we could get a better stop than the Vikings defense. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, I mean, their secondary is absolutely atrocious, right? Their secondary is a little bit worse than it's a little bit worse than ours. I will say that. I mean, we're right up there. Another thing is Dante Jackson's PFF grade so far this season is pretty bad, dude. He's allowing like 15, like PFF graded him right now. He's allowing like 15 yards a catch. That's a problem. That is a huge problem. And dude, the QBR rating that the PFF graded him to, Dante Jackson is getting blown out right now by opposing wide receivers. So that's an issue. And CJ Henderson's actually done better than Dante Jackson, which is crazy. They do what we do, watch the game because they damn sure not watching the offense get the ball down the field. their offense is the Minnesota's offense is not going to be the issue, right? Because obviously you can see that they're throwing for, Kirk Cousins threw for over 300 and something yards. They're averaging 475 total yards per game right now, right? So the offense is not going to be the issue. It's going to be the issue is the defensive struggles that we're having, right? Because we're also looking for our first victory, right? 37-27 last week to loss against Seattle. The defense couldn't contain the Seahawks in the second half, allowing them to score 25 points. Carolina's run game was ineffective, which Frank Wright even mentioned that into his press conference today, that he went away from the run game in that last game, and he was wrong to do so. So, that's why I'm telling you right now, Thomas Brown needs to just take over the play calling and and what Frank Wright needs to do is sit back, be a game managing head coach, and he can still be the quarterback guru, development coach that apparently that he is, and do so, right? Because the Carolina's run game was ineffective in this last game because he ran away from it, but also our offensive line can't create run lanes either. Same thing with how our wide receivers can't create separation. We only had 44 yards on 14 carries. We only had 14 carries last game at 44 yards, because then they decided to throw the ball 58 times with Andy Dalton, even though he had a heck of a game. I thought Andy Dalton did a hell of a job, right? Throwing for 361, 2 touchdowns. But now you've got Bryce Young coming back in, right? Right. So Frank Wright has mentioned they need to run the ball better strategically, but it's hard to do that when your offensive line also is not creating the run lanes. But it's also not helpful when your head coach just runs away from it, right? Right now, the only thing I can think about for this team is run the damn ball. I think that that has to happen in this game for us to win. We have to run the ball 30 times, I think, to even be in this game. I'm with Bryce. I think you have to run the ball 25, 30 times. Do a 2 split carry with Miles Sanders and Chuba. And I think that needs to happen in this game for us to have a chance. I really do. I think we need to get back to that disciplined football, the way that Steve Wilkes was running it, because, with a rookie quarterback, you need to wear down that defensive line. And by running the ball, it opens up the pass. And I think that they need to run some bootleg play action pass, quick throws, like I've been talking about, quick game, quick throws, quick slants, quick flats, quick fades, quick hitch routes, right? That's what this offense needs to do. It's a downhill offense. You're moving the team. It's easier for your front line to block. But then when you add a 2-headed monster split carry backfield, it benefits your quarterback, and it benefits the wide receivers to open up the pass game, and it controls the game and the clock, right? So the Panthers, but from the defensive standpoint, the Panthers defense has allowed an average of 27 points and 136.7 rushing yards per game. So, for me, that's what I'm getting at. I think it's finally time to walk away from Jackson. Yeah, me too. Man, Carolina has some big damn questions to answer this offseason. Yeah, they're going to have to do it this offseason. I don't think we're going to be able to make any moves right now unless they do it at the trade deadline and they clean house, but I doubt that's going to happen. Defense needs to be patched up and the offense needs to be retooled completely. I think we're going to have, honestly, Jadarius, I think we're going to be moving to a rebuild here soon, honestly. And you're just going to have to, I wouldn't be surprised if that we don't re-sign some guys. I won't be surprised if we trade away some guys. And honestly, you might have to clean house because we have no depth in offensive line. We have no depth in defensive line. We have no depth in the corner position. We have no depth in the wide receiver position. And we all lack talent in all of those areas. And that's an issue when you have a rookie quarterback. So the real bad part of the offense is the O-line right now. Yeah, and injuries have have plagued us in that position, right? Panther Raider, right? I mean, you got to think about it from that standpoint too. Injuries have plagued us there, right? Losing Brady Christensen, Austin Corbett coming back from an ACL, right? Then you're putting in a rookie guy at right guard who usually plays left guard, right? And then when you're shifting a guy over from the offensive line, the whole playbook does a 360, the footwork does a 360, right? So it's an issue, right? I mean, when you're doing those kinds of things, and then it's like you're throwing shit at the wall and see if it sticks. And then sometimes that's worse, right? So gonna see Carolina trade notifications going crazy. I mean, listen, honestly, at this point, I would say trade everyone. Trade CJ Henderson, trade Dante Jackson, trade Jeremy Chin, trade Frankie Louvu, trade Brian Burns. Hell, if you got to trade Derek Brown, do it. Trade Ike Ekwonu, to clean house. So I mean, sometimes you just might. Some teams have gotten to that point where they just had to clean house. And I'm wondering because I feel like what this team has been doing for the past 5 years has just been retooling and retooling and retooling instead of rebuilding, in my opinion. And retooling only gets you so far, right? But also, off-season moves like drafts, free agency for this team in the past 5 years hasn't really been the best. I will say the best people that we have drafted, obviously Chin, Brown. I think Bryce is going to be one of them. Getting Frankie Louvu in free agency, getting Von Bell in free agency was another good move. But my boy JC Horn, I think that was a bad move. You could have got Micah Parsons, Patrick Surtain. Hell, you even could have probably gone for Justin Fields if you wanted to, right? I mean, there's multiple scenarios that you can go back on to that year's draft, right? I mean, hell, we passed up on freaking Devontae Adams and we chose Kelvin Benjamin. I mean, think about that. You know what I mean? We chose Terrace Marshall Jr. over Amon St. Brown. Think about that. There's a lot of guys that we missed out on through these drafts and free agency because of our front office. If you go look at the talent and go back through the scenarios in each and every draft, each and every free agency, there was a lot of moves and a lot of free drafts moves that definitely are questionable and raises a lot of concerns for me when it comes to this team. And I've said that multiple times now. This draft will be the most important in those rebuilding, to be honest. Yeah, especially in the wide receiver position, because there's a lot of good ones. We should have been rebuilding after Cam. Yeah, I mean that's what they should have done. As soon as Cam was gone, as soon as they let Cam go, right? They should have just started rebuilding. They should have just started the cleaning house and going from there, but they didn't. So another thing, here's another thing that has to happen in this game for Carolina to win, right? Because we find ourselves, because these are some crucial factors in my opinion to that find ourselves at winless at the enter of week 4, right? A stark reminder of the challenges that we've encountered thus far, right? And then in the recent matchup, we fell short against Seattle, losing 37-27, right? We had a commendable performance because Andy Dalton was out there slinging it freely. The Red Rocket was doing his thing. The Panthers couldn't contain the Seahawks offense, even though I felt like some guys stepped up, like Sam Franklin, Von Bell. CJ Henderson actually played very well. Dante Jackson, Frankie Louvu was doing his thing as well. Burns seemed to be doing his thing. Derek Brown. So guys were still stepping up on the defensive side. But at the end, when people were getting hurt, right? Xavier Woods going out, CJ Henderson going out, Frankie Louvu going out, right? We had to have other guys step up. Deion Jones stepped up. I will say that. They our defense allowed the Seahawks to rack up a daunting 442 total yards and 3 touchdowns. And even the Seahawks kicker, Jason Myers, found, perfection, converting all 5 of his field goal attempts, right? And then on the other side, the Panthers rush game was non-existent, right? And then Miles Sanders only had 24 yards in that last game, 9 carries. So in sum, Carolina mustered only 14 or 44 rushing yards during week 3, right? But I these are the things that are crucial to me that have to happen in this game. Number one, Bryce Young has to have a resurgence. He has to have a game here to not only boost the confidence of this team, but for himself. That's the biggest thing. I need to see him, even if he just throws a mere 250 yards and 2 touchdowns and we lose this game, that's progression to me. No picks, no turnovers, no nothing. If he just throws 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, that's all I need. Right? Just take care of the football. And honestly, if he does that, we can win the game. I mean, I think if a quarterback's putting up those kinds of numbers, I think you could win a game. But obviously, he's the center of attention because he's returning back this week, right? Obviously, being out last week. So I suggest that Young, I think he's so poised in the pocket when he's back there. He looks very calm, right? Obviously, watching his game film, he has been second guessing the route running and some of the guys, some of the routes, right? And there's have been guys open that and then he chose to, go a different direction, right? But it's worth noting that in the last game, Dalton faced more of a favorable matchup against, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, although Andy Dalton, right, stepped in, did very well, right, during last week's game and Young being out. I think it's still worth noting, though, that Dalton faced more of a favorable matchups, right? I think, I felt like Young, no, I think it's worth noting that Young faced harder matchups than the Seattle Seahawks secondary, right? Like Atlanta and New Orleans, right? In week 1 and week 2. Because think of, if you go look at those defenses and see the rankings, see the numbers, the Saints secondary and the Atlanta secondary is actually really good. Better than Seattle's. Plus Seattle's dealing with the injury bug as well. Right? So, arrest in the Tupac case, yeah. Dude, I can't believe this stuff is coming out right now. Anyways, so now that Young is healthy, I need to see him confront a struggling Vikings pass defense, right? That has allowed an average of 27.3 points, okay? And 261.7 passing yards per game over the first 3 weeks. This is what I need. I need Young to have a breakout game. I need him to pass over 240 yards and get me 2 touchdowns in this game. If he does that, obviously we have a chance to win, but that's what I need. I need him to have a breakout game. Even if we lose this game, it's more for Bryce to have that boost of confidence. That's what I need from him. That he can say, "Hey, listen, I understand CJ Stroud over there in the Texans is doing well, but I was also the first overall pick, and I'm going to show you why." So that's what I need. I need a breakout game from him. And if that happens, we have a better chance to win, but I'm just saying that's what I need to happen. Another thing I need to happen in this game, guys, is I need Ike Ekwonu to be able to give Bryce time against a premier pass rusher, Daniel Hunter. I know Daniel Hunter is a stud, and Ike has had a slow start so far this season. So I really, really need to see Ike step up in this game, right? But I need the whole offensive line to step up really and create run lanes for for our run team. I want to see Frank Wright and Thomas Brown draw up plays and switch Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard out. I want a two-headed monster running back room like we had last year and split the carries because I think that's going to be better in the long run. strategically. And I think running the damn ball and trying something new like that could maybe be a resurgence to this offense as well to help out Bryce, right? Because when you're able to run the ball well, it takes a lot of pressure off your rookie quarterback, and plus, then it opens up the passing game, right? So that's something else I need to happen. I need to see more quick game. I need to see more quick passes. I need to see them do some bootleg play action with Bryce as well. I need to see more hitch and slants and fades and even some screens if we got to, but get the ball out quick, right? Run a downhill offense that just gets the ball out quick. It's easier for your offensive line to block. I've been saying that. I need, at least from a passing standpoint, that's what I need to see from this offense. Obviously, with the split carry back, I need to see some switch motions too. We don't do a lot of switch motions. The Rams do a lot of switch motions, and look how that's working out with Puka Nakua and Tutu Altwell. Right, like I need to see a lot of that switch motions because 95% of the NFL does a lot of switch motions like that, where the guy's switching over, and as soon as the guy gets as soon as he switches over, they call, obviously the quarterback calls height, gets the ball out quick. I need to see stuff like that, switch motions, which means because then it keeps the defense guessing, right? So I need to see that, right? At least from an offensive standpoint. Obviously, defensive standpoint, I need to see, who is going to control this game from a defensive standpoint. But what I mean by controlling is making sure Justin Jefferson's not putting a 200-yard burger on our head, right? That's what I need. I need someone who's not going to do that. I need someone that's going to shut him down from that standpoint, right? And so, who's going to be that? Can Dante Jackson do it? I don't know because he doesn't look very good this year, and his PFF grading is really bad. He's like a 50. They got him at a grade of like a 50.8 overall grade so far this year, which is bad. Could it be CJ Henderson? CJ Henderson did do pretty well, I thought, against DK Metcalf last week. So we'll see. But that's something I need to also happen. Another thing I need to happen is I need Adam Thielen to have an impact in this game, right? Because this is another critical factor to monitor his performance, because Thielen delivered a nice standout performance last week against the Seahawks, securing 11 of 14 targets for 145 yards and a touchdown, which marked his highest single game receiving yardage since his prime years with the Vikings back in 2017. Thielen's already begun to establish that chemistry, right, with Bryce Young, and I anticipate that he will continue to shine, especially against his former team, because I think that even though he respects the Vikings, he respects that organization for giving him the chance, the opportunity to play there and stuff like that. But also at the same time, these guys that transfer from, come from other teams, they still have a chip on their shoulders that they want to show, hey, like, you let me go, but I'm going to show you shouldn't have, right? It's like the same thing with it's like an ex-girlfriend that dumped you. And then next thing you know, you go to the gym, you work out, you start looking good. And then she hits you up and she's just like, hey, like, how are you doing? And that's when you say, go fuck yourself. Right. So, or you just get or you could do what I usually do is I just get like one more round in, right? A little, and then I hit the road. But I need to see Thielen do a little and then get out and go back home. I need to see him, lay his nuts on the Vikings head, because that's something I need to see. I need to have him to have an impactful game, right? Because right now, Thielen remains the primary target for this team. Let's be honest. All right. The Panthers passing in the Panthers passing game has been non-existent until last game, right? I need TJ Marshall to also step up, because obviously Jonathan Mingo being out with concussion protocol, I need to see him also step up, right? And create some separation, right? Make some plays, right? Get some catches, right? But still, Thielen remains the primary target for this team, guys, honestly, right? Consistently. He's the one that has 18 catches, 199, basically 200 yards and 2 touchdowns over the past 2 games. So, Furthermore, he is facing the Vikings defense that has struggled to contain opposing passing attacks, right? So I need Thielen to have a 100-yard game, right? Once again. Jay Issues in here. Guys, thank you for everyone joining the live stream. I know this is a different background. I'm outside, enjoying the sunshine, got the puppies in the yard hanging out. Got people inside working on my new flooring. So that's why I'm also outside. So you don't have to hear all that noise while I'm speaking. So I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you pound that like button. All right. Smash it like it owes you some money. All right. And we're going to continue this preview and prediction video as I continue to break this thing down. Another big thing I need to happen is I need Brian Burns to have a career game. I know that's a lot to ask because on this defensive front, Brian Burns is still the key contributor to this defense, despite obviously seeing limited action last week with 48 defensive snaps, which was 68% in the previous game due to an ankle injury from the week prior. So Burns has managed to make his presence felt with 4 tackles, right, including 3 of those solo and 1 sack in the loss to Seattle. Impressively enough, Burns has recorded 3 sacks in as many games this season. I expect him to continue to be a defensive force in this upcoming matchup, right? So I think he'll get a sack against Kirk, at least 1. But I need him to have a big game. I'm talking about maybe like the game he had against Atlanta. Like I need something like that, right? Obviously Miles Sanders being questionable, which obviously I think that's going to be a game time decision. You got Frankie Louvu out, which is going to be I think it's going to be a game time decision. So Frankie Louvu being out could be an issue there, but I think with how Deion Jones stepped up last week, how I saw Sam Franklin step up, it's good to see that CJ Henderson's injury is not as bad as we thought it was going to be. So, because from the injury report, seems like everybody was full participant besides Mingo, Louvu, and obviously Xavier Woods and Louvu and Sanders. So I need Burns to have a big game, right? And I predict he'll get at least a sack on Kurt. I'm very confident in that he will, right? So, again, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you pound that like button. Or share the live as well. I greatly appreciate that as well. So, lastly here, both the Panthers and the Minnesota Vikings obviously are both in search of their first victory of the season, right? So a lot of this hinges on the status, hinges on Bryce Young, I think, right? Him having an impact, him having a breakout game. I need him to just take care of the football. Even though I said I would love for him to have a breakout game, throw for 250, two touchdowns. Honestly, though, at the same time, I just want him to be smart, right? And take care of the football. And if he does that, he will have a big game, right? But while it remains intriguing to observe Young's return, part of me also thinks that the Vikings are still going to win this game because of how good offensively they are, and our defense has struggled in the passing game, right? Part of me wants to lean that side, right? Part of me wants to lean that side. But, obviously him returning, Bryce returning, Andy Dalton may be the better choice at this point, and some people believe that. Some people believe that Bryce should play and get all the reps, right? That decision is the tough one, but I can't have that decision to make, right? Young's playing, okay, right? He's playing. It doesn't matter at this point, okay. Now Young has thrown for 300 yards so far this season, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in his first 2 weeks. to compete against the Vikings, the Panthers need to establish the run game again. I'm going to say that again, and I've said it once. I've already said it multiple times on this stream today, but to compete against the Vikings, I need to see split carries, whether if Miles Sanders is playing or not throughout the rest of this year. I need to see a two-headed monster all over again. All right. I need to see. I think Chuba has outplayed Miles Sanders so far this year. I think this could be a good game for Blackshear if Miles Sanders is not playing. I think this could be a good game to throw in Blackshear into this mix. But I need to see them establish the run game, and that's also comes down to the offensive line creating the run lanes, right, and protecting the quarterback, right. I need that as well, but especially considering the fact that the Vikings' weak ass defense this season, right? Right. This is a game where we could have guys break out. This is a game where we could have some performances, some confident boost in this team that we've been looking for, at least from the offense, especially from the offensive standpoint. This is a game where our offense could actually shine if the right play calling it comes upon, right? Thomas Brown takes over the reins. Frank Wright becomes a game managing coach, right? Our offensive line protects the quarterback. Our offensive line creates run lanes. Our wide receivers are creating separation, right? I mean, obviously, those are all crucial factors that we haven't seen yet to happen this season. I mean, we saw a little bit more of the wide receiver separation when Dalton was in there and slinging it freely. But in the first two games with Young, we didn't see that. And that's also an issue for me because it makes me think, when I've watched Bryce's game film, he is second guessing himself, and then it's causing turnovers and it's causing him to hold on the ball too long. And, that's an issue, right? But I believe the Panthers do have the tools to slow down the Vikings passing game down, right? I am very 50-50 with this game because I think our defense is better than the Vikings, but I know the Vikings offense is better than ours. And this game's a toss up for me, right? And I don't want to be a clown and say, like, part of me is, you know what? Fuck it. Carolina's winning this game, guys. Fuck it. We're winning this game. We're going to win this game. I think that we have better tools to slow down this Vikings pass game. I'm taking the underdogs. I'm taking my team this time. The past two games, I took Carolina I took Carolina against Atlanta. They failed me. But the past two games, I did predict the Saints to beat us. I predict the Seahawks to beat us. I'm not going to pick the Carolina Panthers every single time, guys. Right? Like, I'm going to be realistic with y'all. But I like, this game is a toss up. But I'm going to take the Panthers. I think from what I'm seeing, at least from a defensive standpoint, we can slow down their offense, and our offense only can be just average and win the game. I'm taking Carolina. I'm going to go 2017 Carolina. I could see this game being like a 28-24 type of game though too. So I'm taking Carolina. I'm going to go with my boys. I'm going to take Carolina. I think that this is a game where we break out. We have some breakout performances, especially from the offensive side. I think if Bryce takes care of the football, I think that we finally see a good run game, and everything I'm asking for in this crucial moment, I'm taking the Panthers. I think that we beat the Vikings at home. I'm going to take that. I'm going to go 2017 Panthers. I'm taking it. I'm taking it. I think I feel like we are better tooled than they are, at least from the defensive standpoint, right? Offensively, they're obviously a lot better, right? Obviously. But from what my performance saw last week, seeing CJ Henderson step up and being able to shut down DK Metcalf a little bit, I feel like maybe we're going to see CJ Henderson on JJ, because I mean, Dante Jackson, I don't think can cover. I don't even think Dante Jackson could cover Who's a shitty ass wide receiver? I'm trying to think of a shitty wide receiver. I don't know. I mean, like, I just feel like Dante Jackson, like, if we go look at his PFF grade right now, guys, it's bad. Like, this is one thing we need to look at real quick. I want to show you Dante Jackson's PFF grade. It's rough, man. It is absolutely rough. This is already a sign showing, like, just looking at this is just like is icing on the cake for me, man. Like, it's like saying, hey, it's time to move on. It's time to move on, bro. It's time to move on. Thank you, JJ. JJ, thank you for joining the live stream, man. Make sure you pound that like button as you're coming in, brother. I appreciate you joining. C3 JJ, I appreciate you, man. C3 podcast in the house. Jay Issue from the Black Cat Panther podcast. I did give you a shout out, Jay. I said what's up, but I didn't say where you were from, so that's on me. But Jay from the Black Cat Panther podcast, always showing his support as well. So appreciate y'all. Mad Chatter's in here hitting that thumbs up as well. Panther Raider in here as well. Jadarius in here as well. Guys, get in the chat, man. Toxic Black, even though you're a Atlantis fan, appreciate you joining. Continue showing your support, bro. Dante Jackson couldn't cover rock. So let's go look at this. Look at this PFF grade. It's horrific. Horrific. 50.4. Run defense is 45.2. I don't, but coverage 51.9. He's allowed 11 receptions, targeted 17 times. He's got 10 solo tackles, 2 stops, 4 missed tackles. Look, this is where these 2 things right here is what bothers me the most. Passer rating allowed 125.1. Yards per reception 18.4. Yo, it's time to make a trade. It's time to make a trade. It's time to make a trade for Dante Jackson. It's time to trade Dante Jackson. That right there should not be happening. Pound that like button like it owes you money. Absolutely, man. That's how you got to do it. Smash it like the whole, smash it like the Hulk wants to smash Black Widow. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I want to smash Black Widow too. So, anyways, let's move on. But anyways, no. 125.1 passer rating allowed. And then yards per reception, 18.4. You know what I'm saying? Like, that should not be happening. Right? Like, that should not be happening. It's crazy. There's no reason for that. Sorry, I'm going to stand up for a little bit. I've been sitting down for a little bit too long. I'm on my back porch that I've been working on. It's a nice day here, man. I hope y'all are enjoying this beautiful sunshine. It's a blessing to have this beautiful day. And have y'all. And the Ropp Star report. Right? Oh, crushed my legs this morning. So that was another reason why I got to stand up. I absolutely obliterated my legs. Oh. Honestly, I look, maybe I should go try out for the Panthers. So this is Dante Jackson's PFF grade, guys, if we're looking at it. So let's go and continue. Let's go look at his premium stats this year so far. All right. Let's go look at his premium stats. Okay. So the run defense was good against New Orleans. But other than that, I mean, tackling was terrible. Look at that. 20. Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad right now, guys. It's really, really bad. He has 4 missed tackles this year. He's only got 2 stops. You know what I mean? He's been targeted 17 times and has allowed 11 receptions. 64.7% reception rate. He's allowed over 202 yards, 18.4 yards, And then yards after the catch, he's allowed 65. The longest he's allowed is 45 and then he's allowed 1 touchdown this season. But still, that's bad. That is absolutely horrific. So it's time to get this dude out of here. I think it's time to move on from Dante Jackson. I really do. Oh God, I gotta sit back down. I really do. I think it's time to move on. It's time to move on from Dante Jackson, guys. Because what else are we gonna? I mean, you might be. Because here's the thing. I mean, I don't know how much you're gonna be able to get for him, but it's time to move on. The reality is that I think he's had. Has he or not had? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But hasn't Dante Jackson had some an ACL tear on top of the fact that he's also had an Achilles tear? I'm pretty sure that Dante Jackson's tore his ACL once, if I'm not mistaken. So it's time to move on from him. But anyways, guys, broke down some news and updates, broke down the injury report for this game. Also broke down the preview of this game, and then I gave you my prediction. Nobody going to trade for Dante Jackson. We're going to have to cut his. Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that. No ACLs. Actually, okay, so no ACLs. I thought he tore an ACL or something. Maybe it was just an MCL. Maybe it wasn't an ACL. Maybe it was just not as maybe it wasn't as bad. But anyways, we broke down the news and updates of the Carolina Panthers. We broke down the preview. I gave you what I think needs to happen for us to win this game. And then I broke down my prediction of this game. If some of you are just joining, I'm predicting the Carolina Panthers to win 20-17. I could see this game going to 28-24. I just feel like we are better tooled on the defensive side of the ball. And I think that this is a game where the Carolina Panthers offense could break out, especially for Bryce, and build that confidence back up, split the carries with the running backs. And Terrace Marshall getting separation, Adam Thielen getting separation, right? So I broke it all down. Obviously, you can watch the replay if you're just joining. I'm gonna hop off of here. I'm gonna get some shorts done for you guys. So I'll have some short content coming out here shortly. But other than that, guys, make sure you check out my link tree down below. It has the Discord, all my social media, and betusa.com. Sign up for free today. Get 125% bonus on your first bet. So far this week with my NFL picks too, guys, I am 0 for 1. I picked the Packers to win last night, so I'm 0 for 1. We'll see how we finish out after Monday night next week, and we'll review that. We'll review the week 4 picks. And then I'll also, guys, be on the lookout. I am on TikTok. I always do my NFL content on there because most of the time I can't put it on YouTube because it's a little bit longer than a minute. So if you want NFL content, go follow me on TikTok. I do NFL power rankings. I do NFL bets. And I also do NFL, my weekly picks as well. I also do, what else do I do? I do a bunch of other stuff. So go check it out. All right. So I appreciate everyone joining. Make sure you pound the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click that post notifications bell so you don't miss out on any new content. Always feel free to share the live. Also feel free to always get in the chat. Jen, I saw your comment. Hello. I hope you're doing well and having a beautiful day. Mr. Clean, what's up? I hope you're doing well as well and having a beautiful, blessed day as well. C3JJ, my TikTok is the same thing as you can see right there. It's just Roppstar92_. So, all that's up there. All of that's in there as well. So definitely definitely go check it out. Okay. So I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. As always, guys, y'all know what to do. Keep pounding. Peace.